The Enlightenment refers to an important movement in 18th century European thought. The spark for the Enlightenment came from the progress made by the scientific revolution. Enlightenment thinkers believed that by applying reason and scientific laws, people would be better able to understand both nature and one another. They applied the new scientific method to society and its problems. At the core of the Enlightenment was a questioning of traditional institutions, customs, and morals. In particular, they questioned the divine right of kings, the hereditary privileges of the nobility, and the power of the Catholic Church. Enlightened philosophers believed that nature and society operated according to certain basic universal principles, which they referred to as natural laws. They further believed that people could use their reason to discover these laws and then apply this knowledge to improve the quality of life. Roots of democratic government. In the 17th century, philosophers Thomas Hobbes, author of Leviathan, 1651, and John Locke, author of Two Treatises of Government, 1690, viewed political life as the result of a social contract. Hobbes argued that people's natural state was to live in a bleak world in which life was, quote, nasty, brutish, and short, quote. However, by agreeing to a social contract, they gave up some rights to an absolutist monarch in return for law and order. Locke, on the other hand, argued that the social contract implied the right, even the responsibility, of citizens to revolt against unjust government. Locke argued also that each man had a natural right, a right in the state of nature, to life, liberty, and the pursuit of property. Another of Locke's influential ideas is found in An Essay Concerning Human Understanding, 1690. In which he proposed that children were born with minds like blank slates, or tabula rasa, waiting to be filled with knowledge. In a world in which most people believed that an individual's intelligence, personality, and fate were heavily determined by their ancestry, Locke's emphasis on how environment shapes people was radical. It also implied that society should promote education. Enlightenment ideas were applied by Thomas Jefferson in the American Declaration of Independence. The Declaration recognized the existence of natural rights such as the right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. It stated that the purpose of government was to protect these rights. This demonstrated the strong influence of Locke on colonial thinking. The philosophers. Enlightenment thinkers were also influenced by the earlier wars of religion. To avoid senseless killing, they favored religious toleration. They opposed torture in judicial proceedings. Many practices in France, its privileged nobility, powerful church, and absolutist king, seemed irrational to these thinkers. Key thinkers of the Enlightenment. Voltaire, 1694 to 1778, poked fun at traditional authority in society, government, and the church. His views on religious toleration and intellectual freedom influenced the leaders of the American and French revolutions. Jean-Jacques Rousseau, 1712 to 1778, believed a government should express the general will of the people. His book, The Social Contract, helped to inspire the democratic ideals of the French Revolution. Baron de Montesquieu, 1689 to 1755, argued for a separation of powers in government as a check against tyranny. His book, The Spirit of Laws, encouraged the development of a system of checks and balances later in the U.S. Constitution. Adam Smith, 1723 to 1790. Smith described capitalism in his book, The Wealth of Nations. Smith explained how competition and the division of labor help to guide a free market economic system based on self-interest. He argued that government should follow a laissez-faire, or hands-off, policy towards the economy. Enlightened despotism. Enlightened despots were absolute monarchs who tried to use Enlightenment ideas to reform their societies from above. They often came from countries without a strong middle class. They felt it was up to the ruler to introduce positive changes. They instituted religious tolerance, established scientific academies, and promoted social reform, but they rarely supported a greater sharing of political power. Examples of enlightened despots are Catherine the Great of Russia, Frederick the Great of Prussia, and Joseph II of Austria.